Alrighty, we are live on Facebook, soon to be live on Instagram. Get his phone set up. Beautiful. I think that's actually pretty solid for both. Excellent. Let me get this mat adjusted. Alright. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. Happy Sunday. Oh, we already have a lot of people on. That was fast. Y'all must have been waiting. Happy to see that. For those who don't know me, my name is Kyle. I'm an instructor and personal trainer at Pulse Fitness. I am very excited for us to open up again and get to be doing this kind of stuff in person. But for those of you who are joining, welcome to Performance Recovery. Today we're going to be focusing on hips and shoulders. These are the things that get tight when we're sitting all the time, so we're going to focus on getting those stretched. We're going to start with the posterior fibers of the adductor magnus. This is basically a fancy hip stretch, so you're going to set up outside of the mat. Feet are going to be wider than hip width apart. Toes are pointed out slightly. Think 45-degree angle as the rule. There are always exceptions to the rule. Some of you are going to want to be more straight than toes pointed out, which you do not want. Our toes pointed way, way out. As we go into our lunge, you're going to lose balance if that happens. So again, 45-degree is the rule, and you can bring them in closer to straight if you would like. From here, you're going to lunge to one side, shooting your hips out behind you. As this happens, you're going to want that knee stacked over the ankle of the bent leg. So we're shooting back. You're going to feel this stretch on the back side of that straight leg, right? You might even go into the groin. That is the posterior fiber of the adductor magnus. This muscle can become overused through any of our hip hinge patterns. This can be squatting, deadlifting, hip thrusting, etc. So we want to use a dynamic stretch to loosen that muscle. So you're going to lunge to the left, come all the way back up, lunge to the right. Now, these aren't lunges where your upper body is very erect and standing straight up. You actually want to shoot your hips back, right? So that way you're putting the stretch to the back side of the hips, again, into that straight leg. So we're going to take our time here. We're going to spend a little bit of time on this stretch. So coming back up, going to the opposite side, coming back up. Depth is not what's important here, right? It's all about how far back you can shoot those hips and start to feel that stretch, right, on either the inside of your groin of the straight leg or behind, closer to your butt cheek, right? So to one side, coming up, back to the other. Now I'm alternating, going between left and right. My goal here is, again, the dynamic release of this muscle. I'm not hanging out in this bottom position for too long. That would be called a static stretch. Oh, you guys see the kitty popping into the screen on Facebook. She's here to hang out with us. So, again, bouncing back and forth, shooting your hips back. When you're in this position, you can rock back, pull forward, find a little bit of extra movement in here, right? From here, come back up to stand. So you're dropping back down. Again, you can shoot back, shoot forward. You're really playing with the hip capsule of that straight leg. So that's what we're looking for. Depending on how tight you are, you might feel this run all the way down to the back side of your knee. If you're feeling it on the inside of your knee, that is your hamstring, specifically your semitendinosus and your semimembranosus. Those muscles run on the inside. We will be doing a biceps femoris release, which is the hamstring muscle that runs along the outside of the hip. Again, it's another one of those muscles that tends to get overly tight whenever we're doing our hip-based movements. So we're going to work on releasing those today. So we're going to spend about another 30 seconds here, taking your time, lunging from left to right. Make sure each time you move into that lunge, you're feeling that stretch, hunting for it. If you're not feeling it, probably because your body's too upright, and you shoot your hips back. If you notice that balance is a problem, use your arms as counterbalance in the front of you. So again, moving from left to right. Just focusing on that stretch. So we'll go one more to each side. One and one. Excellent. Feet together. We're going down to the mat. So from here, pardon me, I might have to adjust the camera as need be, but we're going to get into the outside head of the hammy, or the biceps femoris, as it is technically called. So from here, we're going to lie back. You're going to have one leg completely straight, right? That is the leg that you're not working on. The leg you are working on, you're going to take your, in this case, I'm going to take my right hand and go to the outside of my left leg. Now, right behind your knee, you can feel this giant tendon, right? That's the bicep femoris attaching to just below the knee. You're going to pin that tendon down, right? So you're using this arm across body to pin that tendon down. So you're actively pinching it. You'll use your middle finger and your ring finger to apply that pressure. You want to get as close to your knee pit as you possibly can. Now from here, you're going to slightly adduct or pull your leg across the midline of your body. So we're not way out here, right, with the leg open. You're actively pulling to the inside midline of the body. Now, from here, with toes flexed, pointed towards your face, you're going to extend your leg and then bring it back down. Extend the leg, bring it back down. If you have to use your left hand for extra reinforcement over that tendon, please do. It's called a pin and stretch technique. So we are pinning the tendon of the biceps femoris down as we stretch actively by extending our toes. The toes should be coming to the opposite side shoulder, right? So you're looking to bring them across body into this upper quadrant, right? Contralateral to where the actual limb that we're using is. So, again, coming in here, pinching down tight. You can use both hands if you need to. Coming up across body, trying to come down. Some of you are going to be super flexible here. If you can, bring that leg as much forward towards your face as you can. You do not need to be perfectly straight with leg, right? Not necessary. The idea is that we're just trying to tone down activity in the biceps femoris, or the outside head of our hamstring muscles, right? You've got 4 muscles of the hamstring, well, technically 3. You've got the 2-headed biceps femoris, the semitendinosus, and the semimembranosus. Again, for those of us who do a lot of deadlifting and a lot of squatting, the biceps femoris can be overactive, right? What this means is that your glute on that side can shut down because other muscles are taking over for the function of your glute. So, again, we're using specific release techniques today to focus on the group of muscles that become overactive for that glute. So just taking your time here, again, pin and stretch, you're focusing on that tendon. For those of you who don't know, a tendon is what connects muscle to bone. A ligament is what connects bone to bone. Ligaments should not be stretched. Tendons, truthfully, can't be stretched either, but that's what we pin and stretch so the muscle belly can actually relax. We're going to do one more on this side. Excellent. Now from here, you're going to switch. Again, you're bringing your hand across body. You're grabbing that tendon right on the outside portion of your knee. This time, left hand grabbing right leg. Right, left leg is completely straightened. You can bring that right hand in for some added reinforcement. It's not necessary. At the very least, you need this left arm grabbing the right leg. I do, however, like coming in for this added reinforcement right here. So again, you're pinning that tendon down. You're pulling your leg slightly over the midline. We're not talking so much that it's like basically touching the floor. We're talking a slight amount. You don't want to be out. You want to be pulling that leg, again, slightly over midline. And then from here, you're pulling straight up. Pin and stretch. Now, the goal of doing this is you're going to want to do about 15 to 20 repetitions. Take your time when you're in the top and in the bottom, right? Speed is not your friend here. You want to go nice and slow. Think very slow tempo. About 2 seconds coming out, maybe a 1 to 2 second hold at the top, seconds coming back down. Again, taking your time. This is the second muscle that we're going to be hitting during this stretch. A lot of us have lumbopelvic hip complex dysfunction because we sit or drive so much. The lumbopelvic hip complex is your lumbar spine and your hip joint. So that includes your pelvis, femur, head of the femur rather, and your lumbar spine. So everything that we're doing here today is focusing on muscles that become either over or underactive in this complex to try to restore proper functionality to our hips, i.e. glute max, which we will do in another class. We're not going to be doing any activation stuff. This is a stretch class. So we'll do about 3 more on this side. 1, 2, and last one. 3. Excellent, excellent. Roll to your side, pull yourself back up. Should feel a nice stretch already. We've already hit the adductor magnus and now the biceps femoris, right? Interesting ways to stretch the hamstrings. You don't always have to plop your feet together and go and straight touch the toes. So, gives us some options. Now, we're going to hit a tiny little muscle. It's an external rotator of the hip. For the most part, there's some fine movement science that can show alternates, but for the sake of today, it's an external rotator. It's called the piriformis. Sits right here on the top part of the booty. You're going to bring your leg on top like so, pull up to the top, and this might be a stretch already for some of you. Again, you're focusing on this back side of the leg that is bent, right? If this is not enough from this position, you can lie down and start pulling that leg close to you, right? You're going to feel that stretch right out here. If you aren't, you can even take the sole of the foot that's bent, right, and start rotating, and really feel that stretch right in here on the back side. For me, this is right where I need to be to feel that stretch. You can even rotate. You do want a little bit of rotation coming in from your lumbar spine. Not a huge amount, right? If you start to feel any discomfort in your low back, we're going to completely avoid that position, and you do not want to be there, right? So again, if that low back starts bothering you in this position, just work to a straighter low back position. Again, for example, you're coming up here, right? Legs are crossed. I rotate over because that's what I prefer in this position. But if my back starts to bother me, I'm going to come straight up. If this position becomes uncomfortable, I'm going to come back up onto my hand. Gives you some options. Now, interestingly enough, from this position, you can even use the ground as your implement here to stretch, or rather, in class we'll use these small mobility balls for our pin and stretch techniques, right? We don't have those at home, but you can improvise here with the floor. So again, you're coming up from your quadruped position, you're pulling your leg up, you'll come in for support with that other hand, and then rotate to the side of the hip that is down. So that bent leg, that knee, is driving close to the floor. And you can even roll side to side, use the floor to kind of massage that area. And we're just going to hang out right here, chill for a little while. Enjoy that stretch. Again, these 3 muscles, when grouped together, the posterior fibers of the adductor magnus, the biceps femoris, which is one of the hamstring muscles, and your piriformis, together they will all externally rotate and extend the hip, right? Externally rotate the femur, extend the hip. This is the function of your glute max. Your glute max can become inhibited, i.e. no longer functioning properly, and these muscles will take over, and the glute max will become lazy. So the idea is before any of your booty work, you can do these types of stretches to tone down overactive muscles, which will make room for movement quality coming from the glute max, right? Which is the idea here. That's the biggest muscle in the body, not on some people, on everybody. And we want to make sure that it's toned up properly and functioning properly. I can already tell you from the time that I've been in this position, using the floor as a nice little massage tool, I'm already starting to feel a release. It's a little more comfortable in that position. Good. And from here, we're going to switch. I'm going to go to the other side. So you are focusing on bringing that leg up into the 90 degree. I am way tighter on this side. So 90 degrees, you're using that left leg as a shelf of support for the right leg, right? Now, I'm going to be leaning onto my right hand, and I'm going to go straight into that mobilization, right? So really focusing on driving that part of my butt, right, this upper part of the booty right here, into the floor. If you want, you can even go down onto your elbow. I find that this is a little less tension, a little less pressure on that spot of the glutes, right? So you're coming back up. So again, try to get some movement in here, move around, see if you can really use that floor as a surface to press against. It does feel quite nice. Now, if you've got a foam roller at home, this is where you would want to use a foam roller. You'll sit straight down on the foam roller, running long ways, like think from left to right, and you'll just use the foam roller. You can go back and forth, but if you don't have one, it's no big deal. You can literally just use the floor. I have been quite a bit of relief just from using the ground, which is quite nice. These spots can be hard to hit if you don't know the proper body position to get into, so it's nice to have that option. Again, this is for the piriformis external rotator. You will be hitting some other deep rotators of the hip. In this position, it's almost impossible to hit one sole single muscle. But no problem there. Again, all these muscles become overactive. You've got to tone them down with techniques like this. We'll get into a little bit of a hip stretch too after. Now, from this position, I'm actually going to go into the stretch position. Bringing that sole of my foot into the floor, rotating, looking away from my hip. So again, from here, lying down, foot comes up, sole of this foot, rotating towards the floor. Right now, that's away from the camera. I'll be looking towards the camera again, starting to feel that stretch in the hip, maybe even a little bit on the front side of the hip into the TFL or glute med. So, enjoy that, feel that stretch. Add a little extra resistance with the hands, pull towards you. Feels excellent. Very good. And we're going to come out. So unwind, come on up. All right. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to do any activation, but we got to do a little bit. So we're just going to do a few bridges. So from here, you're going to walk back. Your hands are going to be all the way down at your sides. From this position, you're going to be reaching, trying to touch your heels, pulling your heels as close to your butt as possible. You're going to keep your gaze forward, keep your shoulder blades off of the ground. From here, you're going to drive up and feel that tension in your glutes. Come back down, drive up. This is number 2. We're only doing 10. Back down, back up. 3, 4. Take your time here. 5. Really focus on that glute contraction. 6, 7, 8, 9. One more. 10. Beautiful. I can tell you, just from releasing those muscles, I can feel this way more in my glutes. I had almost no tension in my hamstring, none on the inside part of my groin. Feels very nice. That's what you get when you do structured release techniques based around specific problems that your body goes through. So we're going to go one more hip, and we'll do a little bit of shoulders at the very tail end. This last one, everybody's maybe getting sick of at this point, but that's fine. We all need it. We've all been sitting way too much stuck in our houses. So from here, you're going to go in your true quadruped position, toes on the ground, knees on the ground, palms on the ground. We're going to start with our right leg. You're going to shoot that right leg all the way to a wall behind you. Those of you who have a little bit of knee pain in this position, you can move that knee between 1 and 3 inches away from the wall. I would like it to be as close to the wall as possible, ideally touching, but some of us will be pain position. That's okay. We can easily remedy that. Just prop that knee against away from the wall. Now, toes are down, laces down if you've got shoes on the wall. From here, you're going to bring that left leg up in line with your hands. Doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to be a general recommendation. You should feel a massive stretch now on the front of that right hip, and you're focusing on contracting your glute. If you cannot find that contraction, that is because your iliopsoas, your iliacus, and your psoas are so tight, it is inhibiting the function of your glute max. So we stretch and lengthen these overactive muscles so that way we can start to regain activity in our glutes, which is exactly what we're looking for. And all the power comes from those muscles. Big deadlifts, big squats, big hip thrusts, big weight is moved with your hips. So you got to make sure that they're functioning properly. It's very, very important. So just hanging out here, focusing on that stretch. We're not going to do too much in here. We're going to do something called a little bit of a contract and relax technique, or a PNF. You're going to drive your foot into the wall, right? As if you're trying to break through that wall and extend your leg. So you're going to drive in hard for 3, 2, 1. Relax. Sink a little deeper into that stretch. From here, we're going to do that 2 more times. Drive your toes hard into the wall, hard for 3, 2, 1. Relax. Sink a little deeper. 1 more time. Drive those toes hard. 3, 2, 1. Relax. Excellent. I tell you, short time in that spot, I already have more glute function at the end than I did at the beginning. It's exactly what we're looking for. It's exactly why we're doing this. So we're going to switch back into that quadruped position. Toes down, knees down, hands down. From here, you're going to take that left leg, shoot that knee all the way back to the wall. Again, for those of you who have knee pain, you can move that knee away from the wall 1 to 3 inches. Those of you with no knee pain, dig in. Deal with it. From here, you're going to kick that right leg up right next to your right hand. So you've got left hand, right leg. From here, you're focusing on trying to contract your left glute. If you notice that it's hard, that's fine. Again, that's why we're in this position to stretch muscles that are inhibiting that glute from firing. From here, we're going to drive our toes into the wall, right? We're going this way, trying to break your foot through that wall. It's not going to happen, but we're trying. So you're going to drive in hard for 3, 2, 1. Relax. Sink a little deeper into that stretch. Again, if you start moving yourself outside of the pain cave, right, you're making no change. So you've got to grin and bear it and deal with that little bit of pain. If it's more than a 7 out of 10, back off, right? Not trying to hurt you in this position, but sometimes we have to go through painful moments to cause positive change. How's that for some life philosophy for you? So drive those toes into the wall hard for 3, 2, 1. Relax. Sink a little deeper into that stretch. I'm already feeling some of that glute contraction start to come back. I'm going to do 1 more. Drive hard into the wall for 3, 2, 1. Relax. Feel that stretch coming in. Sink down a little bit. Just a little extra movement in here. A little tighter on this side, so let's go a little more time here. Excellent, excellent. Come on out of it. Stand up. Should feel pretty good. From here, in this standing position, right? You can go from your duck butt into your tuck butt and feel how tight that glute contraction is. Again, all these muscles get tight. Everything that we're working on right now is just to get a tighter contraction from the glutes. So far we've done the posterior fibers of our adductor magnus with our 1 stretch. We did our biceps femoris pin and stretch technique, right? Moving that leg across to the other side of the body. We hit our piriformis stretch using the floor as kind of a mobility or massage tool, and then we hit our hip flexor, our iliopsoas, our iliacus, and psoas complex stretch to stretch the front side of the hip to keep us out of this position. If you do these daily or every couple of days, trust me, the sitting that you're doing during this time of quarantine is going to feel a lot better when you go back to the gym, right? It's exactly what we're looking for, is to maintain and keep that movement quality that we work so hard to develop. So that is the hip complex. For the shoulders, we're going to work on a little bit of external rotation. You're going to need a wall behind you. You're going to try to get your butt against the wall, get your low back as flat as the wall as possible. Don't need to be super, super strict about this, but you do not want your body starting to arch here with your chest coming up and your low back arching hard. You're trying to avoid that, right? So from here, you're up against the wall. Hands are coming up against the wall. We're going to take our time, slide all the way up into this Y position, and then you're going to drag all the way down. Forearms should be stable against the wall into this W. When you get here, you're going to pull down, try to pull those elbows into your sides. Make sure you're not coming up off the wall here, right? This is what I'm talking about. So pulling down right here and coming back up. A lot of you have heard of the rotator cuff. This is very, very helpful for external rotation, right? This is internal rotation, external rotation. Some of you are going to have trouble in this position. That's why we use the wall, right? So again, you're coming all the way up, taking your time, sliding all the way back down. When we get to the bottom, you're pulling those armpits into your pockets, and you are driving those elbows in nice and hard. 3, 2, 1. Good. Back up. We're going to do 3 more of these. All the way up. All the way back down. Again, taking your time here. Hard. 3, 2, 1. Good. 2 more. All the way up to the ceiling. All the way down. Pinching hard. 3, 2, 1. Good. All the way back up. And 1 more. All the way down. Good. Pinching hard for 3, 2, 1. We're going to come all the way back up. Come out of this position. Excellent. Very good. We got about 4 more minutes. So, we're going to get some movement into these shoulders, right? I know a lot of you are typing right now. That's a very good one. It's the exact opposite of typing, talking on your cell phone, driving, right? All of that wants to pull us forward. You use a movement like that to open you back up, get you into this nice, tall, good posture position. Exactly what we want. So, from here, you're going to get some movement into these shoulders, right? You're going to shrug all the way up, pinch back, drop those armpits into the pocket, pull all the way forward, and then pinch back up. So we're just doing nice, tight circles right here. You're going to have some movement from your arms, right? I like to bend the elbows, get a nice little flow going on. This is movement, right? It's not perfect. It just needs to be good enough for the task at hand. Right now, it's just about comfort while we're stuck at home. So, right here, getting these nice tight circles. Again, a little bit of movement flow going on here, a little bit of body English. All of that is okay. I'm not focusing on being hella strict. So, from here, when we get to the back, we're going to reverse the little front stroke action. Good. Nice rotation. Should be feeling your traps on fire. That burn starting to set in. Good, 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 good. And we're going to go all the way down. Shake it out a little bit, rest. Now, we're going to do this exact same motion. We're just going to add equal and opposite motions from the left and right side, right? So, as the left shoulder raises, the right one drops down. So I'm actively trying to pull the shoulder to the ceiling while I'm actively using my fingertips of the right side to reach for the floor. Now, we're going to go left shoulder back, right shoulder forward, right shoulder up, left shoulder down. You see where this is going. Ideally, if you have to stop at the quarter movements, right? Front and back, top and bottom, opposite front and back, opposite top and bottom, and do so. But ideally, I would like to see these motions being nice and smooth, a coordinated effort between your left and right side. And we're going to switch the directions. So now we're pulling to the front. Just moving the shoulder girdle here. A little bit of side-to-side motion is okay, but don't get all loosey-goosey with it, right? Like I said, a little bit of movement, a little bit of extra movement during this movement is okay, right? A little body English, I'm okay with. Doesn't need to be super, super rigid. Woo! All right, shake that out. We've got one last one, the gunslinger, right? So again, trying to open up our body here. We've been flexing so much, our pecs get tight. So trying to open up, then from here, reaching forward, fingertips pointed, like a little toy gun, and you're reaching forward. You're going to feel this stretch all through the upper part of your back, right? So we're going to do 5 of these. That's 1, pull back, 2, 3, 1 more, or rather 2 more, can't count today. 1, and 5. Oh, this is nice. Excellent. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Who do we have here? Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. I sincerely appreciate it. Hope you're all staying sane, staying healthy, make good food choices, make good movement decisions during your time stuck here. We've got a few more classes for you today, so stay tuned to the Pulse Facebook and the Pulse Instagram Live. Again, thank you very much. If anybody's got any requests, don't hesitate, comment, let me know. I'll try my best to sneak some specific body parts in. We are limited because of the tools we all have available to us, but it doesn't hurt to ask. You never know what I'm able to do. So thank you. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I hope you all have an excellent week. Thank you all very much for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.